Hiya, I'm the proud possessor and the first MP in the House of Commons to have one of a Flip. It's a new video camera. It costs 100 quid and I got in first. I want to use it to give you the agonies and the dithering that I've been going through on this 42 detention line. I mean, my starting position is really we shouldn't be doing it. It's unnecessary. And it's part of the Blair technique of leadership. Tony used to hang a great big rock round his neck, jump off a cliff and say to the party, catch me. And we pretty well always did. And it's bad to see Gordon Brown taking the same stance, partly because he's heavier. But also, it's really just out of a desire to dish the Tories, to show that we are tougher on terrorism than the Tories. So that's where I start. Now, Wednesday last week, I had a long session with Shami Chakrabarti, and she's brilliant, actually. She got me convinced that it's unnecessary, that all the concessions made about Parliament having the right to discuss it, and a judge needed to approve it. This is all sham, it's all balls, she said, actually. Therefore, I should vote against it. Then, on Saturday, I was sitting at home quietly, doing no harm to anybody, and Gordon Brown rings up, which is a terrifying moment, actually, because it's like the head of school saying to the kids, do this for the honour of the school, and that's the level he put on it. And it made you feel, well, to help Gordon, we should help him out, and certainly we shouldn't humiliate him. He argued that he can then get on to deal with the economic situation, which is actually deteriorating quite fast. Anyway, I put these arguments to him, but Gordon steamrollers every argument, so in the end I was left thinking, perhaps I should vote for it. Then I come here, and on Monday morning I talked to Frank Dobson, who's leading the opposition. He said, make your own mind up. They're trying to con you, and it's no use being conned, you've got to stand firm. I talked to Colin Bergin and then John Cruddas, who took pretty much the same point of view. Bergin had been against 90 days, but he thought this was harmless because it's so hung around with safeguards and there need to be a real significant terrorist threat that it will never be invoked, and if it is invoked it probably won't work. So why not give it to Gordon? It's harmless. That was Monday's preoccupations. Meanwhile, ministers ringing up saying, what am I going to do, what am I going to do? And I'm saying, well, I'm making my mind up and reading the great pile of papers I got there on the desk. Tuesday, that's today, I'm invited to a meeting with the head of the security office, who turned out to be a youth of about 18, probably just out of short pants. I mean, incredibly young. There we are. And he said, well, it's really the police that want this, not us. But it is very difficult if you confiscate computers to get them all decoded, and you can buy commercial coding systems which are more powerful and more effective than the Enigma in the war. And there is a real terrorist threat, and one day it will happen. So we want this as a safeguard to fall back on. So I then come back from that and meet more people who are against the idea and begin to move back to a position of voting against it. Finally comes the ultimate threat, which I'm about to succumb to. Tommy McEvoy rings up, he's the pairing whip. He always threatens on these occasions and says, I want to talk to you, but I can never understand what terrorists are eating, but it's always for the interesting. And so he says, I'm going to go see him. I'm about to go and see him, somewhat nervous. So where am I now? I've been for it, I've been against it. At the moment, I think I'll abstain, and it comes up tomorrow, but in the meantime, I've got this great pile of papers here to read through about it, so it's going to be a long, sleepless night.